Hello, I am Senor Negron, one of the assistant principals here at SVA, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about my experiences with individuals who have a chronic illness. Prior to coming to SVA for about a decade, 8 years of which were here at Children's Colorado and an additional 2 in a county hospital in Miami, I worked in pediatric neuro rehab units. In simplest terms, those were units in the hospital that rehabilitated and helped individuals recover from either an illness or an injury to the brain or the spinal cord. The range of patients that I saw went all the way from infants less than 1 year old, all the way to some that were slightly above 18. Not only as far as age, but also the illnesses and or injuries, which goes into my first category on impacts, as far as the impact of the illness or injury on the individual. There's great variability. So if I'm talking about the impact of a brain injury on a 2-year-old, is very different to the impact of a spinal cord injury on an 18-year-old. There are many, many different factors that are involved in those, which we won't get into detail. Number 2, impact as far as chronic illness on an individual. Higher emotions. This is something that you can expect across the board, but for a 16-year-old who now has a spinal cord injury, who is no longer able to walk and used to be in the track team, basketball team, there's a stronger likelihood and almost guarantee that little things that perhaps did not bother them before now are likely to have a much bigger emotional reaction. For example, it may be now that we're at home, I wanted mac and cheese, there's no mac and cheese. That individual may cry or may get rather upset. That is okay. That is perfectly okay. That is something that we would expect, as emotions will be more impacted. Number 3, an impact would be they have to process the illness or the loss. I often talked about when therapists would come to me at the hospital and mention that Johnny, who's a 12-year-old who sustained either a brain injury or a spinal cord injury, and they're very, very sad. And let's say this was the first time that we saw Johnny experiencing that sadness. To me, that is a good thing. That is a very, very good thing. Because depending on the illness and or the injury, there are certain things in your life that are going to change forever. And as a result of that, many patients, many individuals will go through a grieving process, not only the individual, but also the family. So that is something that they need to go through. I was often more worried about the individual who, whenever I saw them, if they said, I'm fine, that is an individual that I would worry about. Because at some point in time, you have to process those emotions and those thoughts that are associated with what you're going through. Now, what are the things that you can do to help? The more important thing. Number 1, I learned this very, very quickly, and I would often tell this to friends and family. Number 1, don't tell someone not to be sad and not to worry about what they're going through. That individual has every right to be sad and to worry. It is normal. The fact is, as much experience as I had, seeing literally hundreds of patients and families go through some horrible things, I do not know what they're going through. I really don't. So, number 1, don't ever tell someone not to be sad or not to worry. Number 2, listen. You don't need a degree in psychology to be able to listen. Many times the best thing that you can do is just be there for them. They can vent, they can worry, they can laugh, whatever it may be, just be there and listen. Lastly, best thing we can do is connect with that individual. With my degree in psychology, I learned many strategies, coping skills for sadness, for anxiety. Not only that, I know strategies to help an individual who has attention difficulties, memory difficulties, speaking difficulties, understanding. And something that we all have, and it is absolutely amazing how much has helped, is the ability to connect with that individual. Something that we teach here at SVA, capturing kids' hearts. That is absolutely key to helping individuals. I can tell you many, many stories about individuals where I was most helpful when I was talking about hunting with someone who enjoyed hunting. Um, I'm drawing the Twilight series. There was a period in time where I went home and watched all those movies just so I could talk with a young teenage girl about those movies. And if I to put it in terms of now 2020, if I have an individual who likes Fortnite, I'm going to learn about Fortnite, TikTok, um, or any other games, whatever it is. But you connect, you listen, you play games. That is the best thing that we are able to do to help those individuals. Lastly, leave with a quote. It's anonymous. One of the best things, we cannot help everybody in the world, but when you help someone, that may change the world for them. Thank you very much.